Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 201 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days in a row, all outside bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,500 miles within this time frame. Now, this is my second year ever running. Within the first full year, at the age of 31, I was able to run 1,002 miles, and I did that within 175 days out of the year in 2020. So, me going for 1,500 miles this year is over a 50% increase in the amount of miles as opposed to last year. And me going for 365 days is over 100% increasing the amount of days I'll be actually out there running as opposed to last year. Not to mention this year is all days in a row with no days off, no rest days. Also within this time frame, I have challenged myself to run two big major races. One of those races being a 50K trail race. That trail race was in Yankee Springs State Park in Middleville, Michigan. I finished that trail race on June 5th in 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds. So I'm officially an ultra runner. I think my bigger feat, though, within that race was actually the build up to being able to run every single day up to that race and then being able to continuously run after running that 31-mile race ever since. So that race was on day 156. Now we are currently on day 201. So it's been 45 days since that race. So it has been a good number of days, and the streak is still alive. I also, within this time frame, have the Detroit Free Press Marathon coming up. That is in October, and that I will be doing the Motor City Challenge for that race. And that race entails me running the competitive 1 mile and the competitive 5 mile the day before, and then getting up after running those two races and actually running the marathon. That is the Motor City Challenge within that race. That race is in October. I did see recently that the restrictions on the Canadian and Detroit border, the Windsor and Detroit border, have been lifted and will be lifted where we're able to travel back and forth here in August. So that may change the race back to an international race, which is what I was really hoping for, but we will see. That is still yet to be announced, but that race is normally an international race that you run across the Ambassador Bridge and back under the tunnel into Detroit to finish. So I was really looking to run that race here in the United States and in Canada as my first official marathon. Officially timed marathon, that is. So, other than that, let's just kind of get into today's mileage. So today was day 201. Like I said, I got out there today and I put in 6.6 miles for the day. That put me at 11.4 miles for the week, which put me at 127.4 miles for the month, which put me at 928.5 miles for the year. Now, I want to focus on these monthly miles real quick. Every single month, guys, I challenge myself to a 100-mile challenge, and I do that 100-mile challenge in honor of a charity in which I donate money to, and I also start a coinciding fundraiser, which we raise money, donations, as well as we try to raise awareness for this charity. So for the first 6 months, we were able to raise money for 6 great charities. Now we're sitting here in the 7th month, the month of July, and this month's charity is in honor of the Detroit Phoenix Center. And what they do and what they help out with is they focus on getting the Detroit youth homeless rehabilitated, help them find places to live, good, healthy food to eat, places to shower, get cleaned up, access to education and access to jobs as well, and maybe even education and jobs, not necessarily even college, but trades jobs and stuff like that. And they They work in the Detroit area, like I said, that's where they're focused on. But they work, like I said, on they focus on the Detroit youth homeless. So anywhere from the ages of 13 to 26, they try to get them off the streets, especially if they don't have a place to live, like I said, and get them rehabilitated and get their lives back on track, because those those kids' lives are just now starting, and they have so much ahead of them and a good future ahead of them if they can get the help. So that's what this fundraiser and this charity, or that's what this charity and this cause for this month's fundraiser, that's what they do and they focus on. So if you'd like to donate to this month's fundraiser, you can find the link to do so on the Defining Discipline Instagram story or the Defining Discipline Facebook story, or you may find it on my personal page's Instagram or my personal page's Facebook story. It's always on the stories. Within the story on the top, it'll say donate on Facebook. You click on that link, it'll open up the link where you're able to make your donations. All donations that get made to this fundraiser go directly to this fundraiser. Facebook is not taking any portion. That's why we continue to do these fundraisers through Facebook, because they have made that agreement. Other than that, though, if you want to still really help out and you don't have the money, or you can't really afford to this month, or you have donated and you'd still like to help out even more, the best thing you can do, guys, is click that share button, because like I said at the beginning of this, the main thing we're trying to do is raise awareness for it and just let people understand what this cause is even about. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that don't even know what the Detroit Phoenix Center is and what they deal with, and they probably don't even know the fact of what they deal with, like the Detroit youth homeless. They probably didn't even know it's that big and relevant of an issue where they have a cause for that, but it is. So just sharing this cause and sharing this fundraiser goes and helps out a lot, especially if you feel like you want to help and you don't have the money or can't afford to help that way. Sharing it helps out. Other than that, guys, though, the 100-mile challenge for the actual mileage is, as you can tell, it has been surpassed. We are at 127.4. Don't want to get too ahead of myself. This is the most I've gone for in a month. So the most I've ever put in a month is 50. The most I've ever put in a week is 45. These past 2 weeks, I had put in 45 miles. The 4 days that started the month before those 2 weeks, I put in 30 miles. So right now I'm really ahead of schedule. I've been really trying to hit a 300K in a month. That is actually a badge on the Strava app that I use. So I'm really going for that right now. That is, I think, 186 miles. But at that point in time and at this rate, with the amount of time I have left, I may be even able to just say, let's go for it. What's 15 more miles after that? So I may even go for 200 miles in a month, and that may be my new record that I won't be trying to break anytime soon, especially with the marathon coming up in October. I got to really start dwindling, not right away, but I'm going to definitely start tapering miles here and try to really, I really want to shave off some time in my marathon pace. So obviously I'll still be doing the 100-mile challenges throughout the months, but here in August and September, I think I'm going to shave down. I'm obviously not put in 45-mile weeks every single week. So it is what it is. We'll see what we can get with these next week here, this week and 5 days or whatever we got left. We're on 201s. That means we're on day 20. We got 11 days left after this. Yeah, so we kind of broke down miles. We talked about miles. I went over a little bit on that. Before we get into today's episode, one, I'm super dehydrated, guys. I've been out of it these past few days. Part of me wanted to blame it and think it was still me getting vaccinated and it's the after effects, and I'm still just not 100%. And then, as I just said, then I'm kind of adding it all up to the fact that I've just been really beating my body up this month with the miles and with the heat and just all of that added up. My body has definitely taken a toll. And on top of getting the vaccine and having that fever and running even more miles while my body was trying to recover from that. So there's a lot of things that have added up. I've just been half out of it these past few days and just tired as heck and sore. So excuse me for that. And if I get off topic and stray away, that's partially the reason. And like I said, I'm dehydrated. I keep picking at my lip because I can feel it. I've drinking so much water, and I'll drink it, and my mouth will get all quenched for a second, and as I'm talking, I can just feel my mouth is super dry, and I'm out of water now. So it is what it is. Before we get into today's episode, though, I've been doing reading and words of the day. I did not read yet again. I got on a streak again, and then I fell off the streak. But I promise I will get back on it. I'm going to try to get a little bit in tonight and then at least a little bit tomorrow. So, the book I was reading was Jordan Peterson's second book in his 12 Rules for Life book series. This one is Beyond Order. The first one was just 12 Rules for Life and Antidote to Chaos. This one is Beyond Order. And his first book was a great book. I did finish that last year. It helped me really develop and really evolve myself. It really helped me push myself during this developmental stage that I've been putting myself through these past 2 years. So that really changed my life. I will say that. I love that book. It was a great book. This book so far has already, I can see, have started to have those effects on me as far as I got into it. But like I said, I just haven't been rushing it, and I've just been kind of caught up with trying to do this and a lot of other things that I just haven't found the time these last few days again. But I will be getting back into it. Other than that, I've been doing a word of the day, like I said. So today's word of the day, of course, I lose it. It is attenuate, which is to lessen the amount, force, magnitude, or value of. To weaken. To reduce the severity. To make thin or slender. To make thin in consistency. To become thin, fine, or less. Attenuate. So that is today's word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Now, other than that, let's get into today's episode. Episode 201. And for today's episode, I want to talk about pleasure. And I want to talk about pleasure because first thing that comes to mind when people hear pleasure is that's a good thing. Yeah, pleasure. That sounds great. Pleasure is a good thing. Pleasure is something that we chase a lot of. And that's where I think that's the problem. Pleasure itself may not be the problem. I think to obtain pleasure every once in a while and to have pleasure here and there, it is a fine thing. But I think within the time we live in nowadays, and this is me talking from experience, from what I at least found I was doing, with pleasure so attainable at our fingertips, I always found myself chasing those quick pleasures and those pleasures that were really holding me back from evolving or from being the person I truly needed to be. And that's why I wanted to kind of focus in on pleasures, because pleasures in life, like I said, they can be very, very misleading, especially because they seem rewarding. When you're pleasuring and you're getting pleasure from something, you seem like you're doing good, or you seem like it's a success, like this is a good thing. But when you come to think of it in a way, a way I was thinking of it at the time. I didn't get too crazy or too abstract with it, but I know people that have come to think of it as in drinking. Back in high school and back in those days when I really kind of fell off and really was drinking a lot and all of that, it was because I was pleasure seeking. I was trying to find pleasure as quick as possible, the quickest pleasure, and that was to It was a party mentality of just drinking all the time, and drinking temporarily helped me avoid my real problems that I needed to actually attend to, and it gave me instant gratification and quick pleasure to fill that void. And really, two things I can talk about that. One, it was just helping me avoid the problems I needed to actually face. So that was a problem within itself. And two, yes, alcohol can be fun. And like I said, it can be pleasurable. But when you are abusing it to avoid things and stuff like that, it actually becomes harmful, becomes dangerous, it becomes addicting. And, there's crazy facts out there that little people, or, people, little do people really know about alcohol and things like that. Alcohol is actually one of the few drugs that you could actually die from while having withdrawals. So you can actually physically die from having alcohol withdrawal. So I'm not trying to get into a virtue thing of drinking alcohol or not. I'm just saying I realized that I was chasing my pleasures, looking for quick pleasures to fill the void of actually facing the problems I needed to face within my life. There was a lot of painful things I needed to go through, and a lot of painful things I needed to take on the responsibility and own up and face. But instead, I was chasing, like I said, quick pleasures within drugs, alcohol, sex, just parties, trying to have fun, quick pleasures, and doing good things for stupid things for money, whatever it was, just going out and playing shows I didn't want to play just to get money, just so I could fill my pocket. There's just when you're chasing pleasures and you're just trying to fill a void of actually facing the things you need to face, it gets dangerous, and another pleasurable thing that I always found myself filling the void with was, just social media in general, going on there a lot, trying to talk, putting my emotions out there of at the time when I was lonely, or I'm so lonely, and life is this and life is that, blah, 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 and trying to play some big, huge pity party. And, I was getting pleasure out of that. I was chasing the pleasure of playing the woe is me card, and the pleasure of, just going on social media all the time to interact with people. Like it hit that endorphins, just shooting them up, boom, 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 boom. And that's all really that we're doing when we are pleasure seeking. And like I said, pleasure isn't always a bad thing. But like most things, like everything, actually, not most things, like everything in life, these things need to be moderated. And you can't always just be chasing quick pleasures, and you can't always be chasing these pleasures and wondering why true happiness is missing out within your life. And speaking of that, there was a quote I seen, and it hit me so hard, and that's what actually kind of made me think about this and talk about this today. I saved it too, because when I seen it, I was like, this just is so strong. Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. And that is so, so true. We can sit here and chase our pleasures and our desires, and try to satisfy them, but it's really when you discover and just let those go that you really just discover that you become free, and that life really starts to have its meaning. It was when I kind of let go of focusing on the social media all the time. I know, yes, I am doing these podcasts and posting daily now, but it's a different thing. I'm not focused on the different agenda that I used to be focused on. And again, I try not to sit on there all the time. I just try to post and just get off as quick as possible. I try not to stay on and let this news stories or whatever's hitting hot right now, whatever is stirring in the pot. I just get out of there, because as much as upsetting as that is, it is also pleasure seeking. That's what people do for pleasure. People get that pleasure out of looking for what's wrong with the world and what we can fix on social media, and I just try to get out of it. So there's many things I've been really trying to focus on, just really just getting out of my life, because I realize that I'm chasing, like I said, chasing these small pleasures of, going out and drinking nightly, or going out and trying to party or do these things. And I realized I don't have time for that. There's so much more that I'm actually putting off within my life that I need to be attending to. And the more I focus on chasing these short-term pleasures, the farther the things I actually need to attend to are getting farther out from my reach and are going to be harder for me to obtain. So I really, really, really have been trying, and have been these past few years, trying to cut out chasing these short-term pleasures. Like I said, and I have been still doing things that are pleasurable and caving in here and there and having fun, and not I'm not like a 100% stickler, like I said, about drinking or going out and having fun and doing these things. But when it becomes your daily habit, that was where I really had to start drawing the line and really start trying to change my life and start turning around, especially when I noticed a lot of the people, every time we would hang out, that was like our go-to is let's crack open a beer, let's shoot the shit. And, there's nothing wrong with doing that every once in a while, but when you're hanging out all the time, and that's the only thing that you guys ever do, that was really what I was focusing on. Everyone has their own problems, everyone has their own thing. If you don't think that's a problem, that is what it is. But for me, that was something I wanted to really change within my life, again, because there was just so many things I really needed to attend to if I wanted to change my life, and I'm not going to do that by taking all my time and chasing these short-term pleasures. So for that reason, guys, your daily discipline today is to really think about these short-term pleasures that you have been chasing within your life. What are some things that you continuously do in your life that are really making you happy right now in the time being, but 20 years down the line, when you look back, you're going to have nothing to show for these past 20 years. You may be lonely, you may be sick, whatever the case may be. Really try to think about what short-term pleasures could be attributing to your unhappiness in the future, because yet again, this is about sacrificing. It's not about always getting pleasure. You're always going to be making sacrifices. So whatever sacrifice you make today, if you're sacrificing hard work and discipline today for a short-term pleasure, you can definitely expect that that hard work and discipline doesn't disappear. It just get pushed down farther down the line, and it's only going to get harder, and it's only going to get worse for you. So that's the way to really try to think about it and look at it. So your daily discipline today is to really, like I said, examine and think about those pleasures within your life, especially those ones that are short term, that are really holding you back from being the best version of yourself as possible. And cut them out, guys. Let's get rid of them. Okay, really start working on the things you need to on a daily basis. There's so many things that you need to attend to, no matter what they are. Me too. Cleaning this basement up. I've been working on my yard. There's so much stuff around the house I can do on a daily basis. There's so much stuff on my physical body. Me working out and stuff. I've been doing a lot of running, but clearly I still need to do upper body. There's so much stuff I can really attend to. That are really beneficial, that there's not enough time in a day for me to do. I've literally been stretching myself thin, trying to get so much stuff done, and sometimes I just get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that I like I said, I I cave into short-term pleasures like podcasts or sitting down and watching a TV show for a second, and the next thing I notice I've watched two because I'm thinking, well, what am I gonna do today? Like, I need to get better myself. There's plenty of short-term pleasures I still give into. I was just discussing the ones that I have overcame and that I think, can maybe be an inspiration to others who may still or have those current experiences as well. But there's plenty of short-term pleasures we all go through, and the point is we got to really try to cut these short-term pleasures out and focus in on, really putting in the work, because these short-term pleasures are only going to hurt us within our future. Other than that, guys, though, thank you so much for following along and listening. This is episode 201 of the Defining Discipline podcast. I am your host, Scott. If you guys can, please give this podcast a like, a subscribe, a share, and a follow on our Instagram, our Facebook, our TikTok, our YouTube, and whatever podcast streaming platform you guys have been following along and listening on. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys get out there. Let's try to honestly make this world a better place. And the way to do that is really to lead by example. Let's work on ourselves on an individual level. No one knows ourselves better than we know ourselves. So whatever you know is wrong with you, you need to really work on it. And you know what's wrong. Maybe you are racist, and maybe you do hate a certain group of people. If that is the case, that is something you need to work on. And no, it shouldn't be, well, yeah, I know I'm racist, I hate these people, let me hate them more. No, it should be you should be asking your questions. Why am I racist? Why do I think I feel this way about people? There's so many things that we could be working on ourselves on an individual level, and it's so easy to point fingers at that person that may be racist and say you need to change. But us telling someone that they need to change isn't going to make them want to change. I think other people who they can relate to, other people that they can relate to, seeing those people change will help those other people change. So leading by example, and the only way to do that is to continuously work on ourselves, because we are all nodes within a network. And as we work on ourselves, people around us who are close to us, and people who maybe even be connected to us over the internet, who have things in common with us, like I said, they'll be picking up on the things we do, and it'll continue to spread, and hopefully throughout the years, if we continue to work on ourselves and continue to strive to be the best we can be, who knows what this world can truly be. So let's really work on that, guys. Let's really try to focus in on becoming the best versions of ourselves. Let's quit lying. Let's quit the BS. Let's try to be as honest as possible, speak the truth. Let's get out there and really work on ourselves and work on being the best versions we can possibly be, not only for ourselves, but for everyone else within this world. That is what the Defining Discipline podcast and mentality is truly about, guys. So thank you so much for following along and listening yet again. I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 202. Make sure you guys give us a like, a subscribe, and a follow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm your host, Scott. Peace out. Make sure you guys get your daily discipline done. And that is pretty much it. See ya.